In many ways, Littleton, North Carolina is a typical small American town. With origins back to the early 18th century, Littleton has had its share of ups and downs, watched its sons and daughters go off to war, seen business ventures come and go, graduations, weddings, and funerals, and quietly witnessed the passing of the seasons.
It was a great environment growing up. Everybody in town knew everybody. The community was about 1,000 people when I grew up. And, everybody was friends. You didn't have, when kids were, it was time to come home, they came home. They knew if they didn't get there in time, they might miss dinner.
Around 1915, the townspeople decided to replace the old wooden school with the grand two-story brick structure that still stands today. There were just 2 teachers for all 8 grades, and students had to purchase their own books. The building served its purpose well, and in 1926, the Warren County Board of Education voted to expand the school by adding classrooms, a cafeteria, and the auditorium where we are gathered this evening.
Classrooms were small. And, teachers were the kind of cornerstone as well of the community. You got to know them, your parents got to know them. If you missed a day of school, your parents knew about it for sure.
Later additions included the gymnasium built in 1938 as a WPA project and the agriculture shop building in 1943. The Home Economics Department got its own building in 1950. Teachers and principals came and went while generations of Littleton families passed through the hallways. This young fellow was picked as most likely to succeed, as well as best looking. More on him later. School plays, concerts, and athletic events were always supported by the town. There was no question that Littleton loved its Blue Jays.
Sports was really the key thing that really kept the community alive. Every Friday night when there was a football game, the fans were there. Both sides of the field were lined with spectators, enjoying watching us play sports. We had great backers in the Boosters Club and great fans that supported us, whether we were playing in Littleton or Warrenton or Walnut Rapids or Weldon. The fans were there. It's a good feeling.
Of course, you have to remember that there was another school in Littleton too, Marie McIver School over on Bacon Road, and citizens here were also proud of the achievements of its all-black students and faculty. It wasn't until the fall of 1966 that the 2 schools were integrated at Littleton High School. Shrinking populations meant many schools faced consolidation around this time, and in the spring of 1975, the final class graduated from Littleton High. Things were quiet for a year or 2 at the old building on Mosby, until a fellow named Mark Taylor came to town. Mark had big dreams of establishing a cultural arts center named Lakeland at the former school, and in 1978, he and a determined band of volunteers began to bring that dream to life. Folks young and old worked on the old building, built scenery, made costumes, and began presenting shows that amazed and delighted the community. Under Mark's direction, the theater company thrived, not only with the shows, but with educational programs that engaged the area's youth. Sadly, after a long illness, Mark passed away in 1990. His passing left a leadership void and created a number of challenges for Lakeland. Local businessman Bob Haltenhoff stepped in to provide stability, and a number of stalwarts came forward to share their passion and talent with the community. Ruth Morgan, Cheryl Seabrell, Doug Wright, Bill and Judy Hand, Terry Newsom. So much energy, love, and enthusiasm. There are more names than can be listed here. Bill and Sylvia Solare, Gilbert Chichester, Larry Williams, the list goes on and on. Wally and Maria Hurst, Gavin and Kathy Gutterson, Nick Bagshaw, Dwight Berry, Denny Dooling, and Ed and Janet Duval. It wasn't easy, and it didn't always go as planned. But thanks to the efforts of many, Lakeland has survived more than 40 years. And now, after a 2.5-year hiatus, Lakeland has returned for its next act. In 2020, Lakeland's Board of Directors forged a partnership with Ed and Deb Fitz.
Our initial foray into helping to revitalize Littleton really started with Lakeland's and the school. The school was in serious need of repair, and there was conversation about tearing it down. And quite honestly, it's a beautiful, beautiful old building, and it just didn't need to be torn down.
They reached an agreement that would bring about the renovation and expansion of the building and provide a resource to help Lakeland become a community connector and economic engine for the area. There's a new lobby, dressing rooms, scene shop, rehearsal studio, a secondary performance space, and a new storage facility for props and costumes. All new lighting and sound gear, 2 projectors that will allow Lakeland to be also a great place for movies, and coming next summer, an amphitheater that will seat more than 1,000 folks on blankets and lawn chairs for outdoor performances.
The arts is a cornerstone. That's the draw. People need entertainment. And the community, it was a great community theater. And it had to survive. So it just kind of came together.
Lakeland is just one part of Deb and Ed's efforts to revitalize Littleton. You remember this guy? Turns out he was pretty likely to succeed. First came Daphne's Coffee Shop, a gathering spot named in honor of Ed's mother. Then came Main Street Wines, offering a great selection of wines you won't find in many places. And Blue Jay Bistro, a stunning restaurant that measures up to the best in any major city. Plus a new home for the Roanoke Valley Veterans Museum, because Littleton has always honored those who serve. And there's more to come. Timber Waters Brewery will open in 2023. There's more new businesses in Littleton too, sparked by the energy provided by Deb and Ed.
Really wanted to build the population back up in Littleton, rather than the kids that are graduating from the schools around and they're leaving Littleton because there's no industry or anything for them to do. While we don't want to change the fabric of the town and we don't want to put in an industrialized center, we do want to have jobs for our kids to stay. And that was the main reason for starting on the economic development within Littleton, and starting with the coffee shop as a community center. The wine shop is just something fun for people to get something that's not in the local grocery stores. The bistro to have a different option of dining. Continuing on with the school and the art center, it's a draw. There's 2 other things in the plans, and that's a city market, which will be more like a general store, again, for travelers coming through to be able to stop, pick up goods, whatever they may need to go to their lake house. And then the brewery, which will be another daytime or evening draw.
We can engage the entire community in the projects that are going to be developing in the Lakeland Cultural Arts Center. It's a very exciting time, and you're all here tonight to see and enjoy it.
So tonight, we celebrate the spirit and history of a town, of a group of volunteers whose love and dedication kept a community theater alive for more than 40 years, and the kindness and generosity of one hometown boy determined to give back to Littleton in ways that no one could have dreamed.